Previously on the MidFlight Crisis.
Warm welcome to our valued team members.
She's firing us.
She's firing everyone.
You gotta be kidding me. You're the largest shareholder in the company?
We must honor these brave individuals as this assignment carries great peril. You will also need to wake up the primary systems engineer, Sue Port.
There are companion serendibites?
Scruff stuff.
The sign on the antique store says 100 Cryo Corp coins per item, sold as is. Feel free to pick out whatever you want. It's on me.
Your generosity is unbounded by time and space.
I will take that as a compliment. Interesting name for this store, Scruff Stuff.
Have you found anything worth selling? Or that companion serendibite?
There's some yellow paper adhered together in a square stack, a blue and silver portable cassette player, and a gold record that says The Sounds of Earth. Keep the record? Could be solid gold.
Probably gold-plated. We'll hold on to it. But let's keep looking. The pickings aren't amazing here. Those other employees must have cleaned out this place already. There's got to be something here. I'm sure of it. I'm okay.
I found something. We're in luck.
Great. What is it?
Heavy-duty aluminum foil.
That's the last thing we need.
We can finally repair that small breach in the ship.
What'd you say?
Nothing. Just that I'm pleased as Pisces to find this foil.
I found a few boxes labeled Christmas ornaments. You did the online credentialing. What's this whole Christmas thing again? I vaguely remember.
Well, I skimmed holiday artifacts, but I believe Christmas was an annual deforestation event celebrated globally. The dead tree attracted a mysterious creature that would sneak into a family's home after everyone had gone to sleep. The ornaments may have been scattered around to distract the creature, so the children would not be eaten.
That sounds horrifying. Ancient Earth people were very strange. Any luck in the miscellaneous millennia box?
There are a few dinosaur eggs, a severed android arm, and some Snapple caps.
All right, we'll keep looking.
You're probably wondering what Snapple caps are.
I'm not at all that curious.
These were primitive serendibites, I tell you.
I highly doubt that.
These were portable storage devices for critical information. Just look at this one. A soup can full of neutron star material would have more mass than ancient Earth's moon.
They must have been already harvesting neutron star matter as fuel for their interstellar spaceship engines.
Absolutely. Or this one. If two pieces of the same type of metal touch in space, they will become permanently bonded to each other.
That's definitely an early example of cold welding. They had to have been writing this one down while they're developing their Dyson sphere. They managed to fit all their technology and culture onto bottle caps?
Never underestimate ancient Earth people, even if they celebrated terrifying holidays. Also, the nothingness generated by a black hole is in the key of B flat. Snapple fact.
Oh, I think I found something. What are these?
Whoa, I can't believe you found some Tamagotchis. These were virtual pets of ancient Earth people. They were faithful companions so long as you took care of them. You'd watch their entire life cycle unfold before you. Think of the countless happy moments these digital creatures must have generated.
Are they worth anything?
Yeah, if your pet dies, you can always restart. It reminds people that there's still hope left in this lonely universe. People still love them. Resale's great. Let's get a few of these and head out.
Wait. Without the companion serendibite?
It would take us a lifetime to search through all of this. I don't think we're going to find it.
You're right. I was just looking forward to the second part.
There'll be others. We'll find as many as we can, but we can't find them all.
We're ready to check out.
Why, certainly. I remember when these things first came into my shop. Reminded me of when I used to have one, but it died of dysentery. It was a much simpler time before the war. You know, I once saw attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion.
Sorry, but we're kind of in a hurry. Your sign says your shop accepts Cryo Corp coins?
Why, certainly. Oh, I remember when I first put that sign up. We had so many of them people from the company pull through these doors. Shop was never busier. But all those moments will be lost in time, like tears in the rain.
I think he's quoting Blade Runner.
Let's just go with it. Sir.
It's Scruffy, by the way.
I'm sorry?
The name's Scruffy McScrufferson.
Oh, yes, of course. Scruff's stuff. Mr. McScrufferson. Have you ever witnessed C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate?
Why, certainly. You guys are good people. I'll give you a discount.
Well, that's awfully generous. We certainly appreciate it.
That'll be 100,000 Cryo Corp coins.
Wait, what?
The sign said 100 coins per item.
That sign wasn't updated. Considering the recent volatility in the market and the progressive devaluation of the cryptocurrency, it's fair market price. The total also includes standard fees.
We thought this was a duty-free shop.
Why, certainly. Duty-free, but standard fees. There's just the browsing fee, rummaging through the boxes fee, the oxygen usage fee.
You're charging us for breathing in your shop? That's ridiculous.
Your apologies. I'm gonna have to add disputing the standard fees fee. That's a fee right there.
Matt, how many Cryo Corp coins do we have?
Not nearly enough if we keep racking up these fees.
Oh, look at that. It appears there's been another big sell-off of the cryptocurrency. I've got to recalculate the price here. Let me see. It was factoring in the recent market information that we're looking at. Here's carry the two. About 10.5 million coins.
For the love of Libra, we're never going to reach the escapade at this rate.
The escapade? Oh, you guys venturing out of that ship?
We are.
Yeah, I've heard someone there's been in some trouble. Yeah, my granddaughter's on that ship.
What's her name?
Susan McScrufferson Port. Recently married. She's a primary systems engineer. So proud of my little ray of sunshine. Love her to bits. Yeah, I'm worried she may be in danger.
Listen, Mr. McScrufferson, we don't have nearly that many coins. How about we guarantee the safe return of your granddaughter in exchange for these Tamagotchis? Do we have an accord?
He's not gonna agree to this.
Why, certainly. We have an accord.
We're in a bit of a rush. Is there an old Earth antique seller nearby?
Why, certainly. There's great Gatsby's artifacts and antiquities. Just a few hours in hyperspeed from this fine establishment.
Well, that's surprisingly convenient. Let's head out.
Oh, and we'll take the Sounds of Earth record too. What's your offer?
On the house. I don't have a record player anyways. Just make sure my little Stardust comes home.
That record is an amazing find.
We could sell it for the gold.
Or we could keep it for the information it may contain. Oh, wow.
What is it?
It's not gold-plated. Did you read the label?
Let me see. The Sounds of Earth commemorative box of assorted chocolates to honor the Voyager 1 mission to the stars. We got a box of chocolates, no gold.
You're acting like that's a bad thing. Open it up. I'm craving interstellar sweets.
Fine, as long as it's not coconut.
Wow, looky here. Another surprise.
Somebody already ate half the box.
Well, yeah, that, but look here. There's your serendibite right there. We found it.
Oh, wow. And a note, too. Best wishes in your pursuit of knowledge. May you find this little gem helpful in your journey. Also, I threw out all the coconut chocolates. I know you don't like them very much. All the best, CC.
CC? Who do we know that has the initials of CC?
And how did they know I don't like coconut chocolate?
Do you think Mr. McScrufferson knew? We almost didn't get this record.
Box of chocolates. Ooh, there's a lemongrass and mint chocolate truffle.
We almost didn't get this box of chocolates. You know, given the strange circumstances, I'm even more interested now. Shall we have a listen? We can play this one in transit.
Great idea. Let's unwrap another mystery.
Much of Reynolds' expanding aluminum production now goes to the defense of the nation, the defense of our free world. But the ultimate aim is peace, always. And the great destiny of light, strong, rust-proof Reynolds aluminum lies in peaceful progress. The Reynolds Metals Company looks forward to the day when all aluminum production can be turned to constructive uses. In a future when the inspired hope of Christmas shall be realized. And on earth, peace, goodwill toward men.
And that's why you can't sell alcoholic drinks in Florida during a hurricane, especially the drink with that namesake.
You cannot purchase a hurricane during a hurricane. Looks like the forecast calls for a well-stocked home bar. Oh, and we're back! Broadcasting from the pale blue dot we call Earth. This is part 2 of the monetary crisis.
We strongly recommend putting those hurricane parties on the back bar and investing a few minutes with us.
It's free advice, so you'll get what you pay for.
Ayn Rand had once said that money is only a tool. It will take you wherever you wish, but it will not replace you as the driver.
Ah, driver. Speaking of drivers, did you know that Cuban taxi drivers actually make more than doctors in Cuba?
Do they really?
Yeah. The tourism industry in Cuba is the most profitable industry. Now, you combine that with the fact that healthcare is run by the Cuban government, and it's kind of easy to see why taxi drivers make more than doctors.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, speaking of more money and how much money you can have, did you know there's a limit to how much money you can actually have in any bank account?
Oh, is there an actual physical amount?
Yeah, there's an actual dollar amount that's cut off. So it's kind of complicated, but
Is it some number that we'll ever reach?
Probably not in our lifetime. At least, hopefully, inflation doesn't rise that much. But no, it's based on the computer system that was first introduced with Irma. It was a 64-bit computer, so it basically used 64 spaces for ones and zeros, the binary language of computers. And because of the algorithm that was used, the way it was programmed, and how it was expressed, how the code was expressed, it rounds down to basically you can only have $922 trillion.
Is that it?
Yeah, kind of a meagerly amount, But
peasant money.
Yeah, you might be able to retire, maybe. Hopefully you won't have to open up a second bank account for your $923 trillion. But yeah, that was kind of interesting that you do have a limit based on the binary system that was created decades ago.
$1 trillion seems pretty unfathomable, but I do think that we will see our first trillionaire within our lifetime.
You think before we die, someone will have $1 trillion?
Unfortunately, yes.
I heartily disagree. Do you know the difference between a trillion and a billion? Back up even more. Do you know the difference between a million and a billion?
A billion is 1,000 million.
Yeah, but equate that to seconds. Something that everybody can kind of understand, well, until we get to a trillion. But a million seconds, if you calculate that out into length of time, it's 11 and a half days.
Okay.
Okay, so if you go up to a billion with a B, as in boy, a billion seconds is 31 and a half years. 11 and a half days for a million to 31 and a half years for a billion. Now, if you go to a trillion, that's 31,000 years. I don't think anyone's ever going to have that much money, at least not while we're alive.
I mean, that would be enough time to watch everything that I want to queue up on Netflix. Should be just enough time.
Are you still watching? So okay, let's play a game. Who do you think would be the first trillionaire?
So my top contender would have to be Jeff Bezos.
The Amazon guy?
Yeah. So even after his divorce, he's still one of the top 3 richest men on Earth. And second would be Elon Musk.
Well, that's fair. I definitely want to buy a Tesla in the future.
Mm-hmm. It's the wave of the future. And if his SpaceX company ever goes public, then that would be a whole slurry of money coming in, too, from the public sector.
I'm really interested to see if he's going to make any money on his tube idea.
I think he might. The Hyperloop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be awesome to go from New York to L.A. and was it 30 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, sending people in like a high velocity speed round through like a highly pressurized tube with no way out.
Totally safe.
Science!
It'd be like sending people into space in cryosleep or something.
Huh. Anywho, also, Bill Gates would be my third choice, just because as the founder of Microsoft, he would be the third eligible individual to become a trillionaire.
But the problem with Bill Gates is he's probably going to give it all away.
That's true. He's actually given a significant amount of his fortune away, up to, I think, 50% of his net worth he's already given away through the Bill and Melinda Gates Charitable Foundation.
Yeah, he's a great philanthropist. He does a lot
Jeff
of,
Bezos
a lot
is
of good
not.
work. Jeff Bezos, not so much.
No.
Sorry, Jeff. Don't sue us.
Please have this on Amazon.
Elon, you're cool.
Yeah.
Come on the show.
Now, I want to diverge from the powerful and wealthy to talk about the economics of everyday life, things that impact us and our listeners. And I always wondered, why are hotel minibar prices so high? What are your thoughts?
I always just assumed convenience. I mean, it's right there in the room.
Mm-hmm. How much would you pay for a can of Pringles?
Probably depends on how late it was, how hungry I was, and how much scotch I'd had.
So for maybe like a nice Glenlivet 12.
Yeah, mixed with some lemon LaCroix.
Oh, that would be disgusting.
Who would do that?
No, of course not. What would you pay for a can of Pringles? Like $5?
I would like to say no, but if I was really hungry and really craving them, I might pay $5 for. Are we talking like a full-size can or
a small can of Pringles?
Small can? Oh,
yeah.
That would hurt. It would hurt real bad, but I if I was hungry enough, I can see myself getting to that point.
Okay. What about $10?
I think 5 is like maxing it out.
All right. Would you do 15?
Heck no.
All right. So for some reason, a hotel in Marseille, France, the Intercontinental Hotel, charges $18 for a small can of Pringles.
In France? With all the fancy French food?
In France.
Well, they have to import it from us, I'm sure. So,
but that's a markup of over 1,200%.
12 times market value?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Now, some hotels charge these ridiculous prices simply because they can. They know that you more than likely won't venture outside the hotel for snacks and drinks, especially during peak snack times, including late in the evening when most stores are closed.
I never leave the hotel.
Mm-hmm. I always stay there. It's kind of an island in a foreign city or a new place.
It's funny how you grow up and that's all you want to do is like just sit in one spot.
Mm-hmm. It's essentially traveling is sleeping in a bed that isn't yours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The bar, I would say, is a vestigial appendage of the traveling business person. And that individual would typically charge the room and all the room services to a business account, right? So the price wouldn't necessarily matter.
So it's the businessmen. We need to go after them. The jerk scientists and the businessmen.
Mm-hmm. Those who are flying business class, going to these sweet hotels, stocking up on the minibar, charging it up to their corporate accounts, and then heading back to their McMansions. You know, the everyday man. There's also problems with theft, especially refilling alcohol bottles with water and putting them back in the fridge. So that's something that a lot of people do, apparently.
Well, those any liquor bottle or alcohol bottle is sealed. So, I mean, do you think they get away with it if they do that?
So they don't actually check the minibar apart from making sure that the items are actually in there. So they don't check the seals on a lot of the alcohol bottles when they do their checks. Yeah.
Lazy housekeeping.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about it, like,
I would be lazy if I was a housekeeper.
Yeah, say like it takes you about 5 minutes to check all the contents inside of a mini fridge, and then you multiply that by X number of rooms in the hotel. That's going to be a lot of hours of just checking to make sure nothing has been tampered with.
Right, on top of changing the sheets and cleaning and everything else. So that's understandable.
Yeah, from an economic standpoint, it would be more fiscally responsible to just charge a heavy amount in order to absorb the cost of theft and damage.
Yeah, I get it. That's fair.
Mm-hmm. Something that hotels are doing now is that they've made their items more exclusive or personalized or difficult to obtain from convenience stores.
Like a 13.5-ounce can of Coke.
Exactly. Like either really large cans or really tiny bottles of Coke. You're not really going to find them at like your local CVS or Walgreens. You won't be able to pick them up very easily.
pecans and pistachios in the same bag.
Exactly. And it's difficult to see most of those items too, especially because most mini fridges don't have lights. But I know all regular fridges do.
Yeah, but you know what doesn't have a light that's very close to a refrigerator?
What is that?
The freezer.
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of weird if you
My
think about
God.
it. Yeah. But, if you think about it too, if it's
Cold as ice.
it is in the freezer. Yes, it is.
Willing to sacrifice our love.
Okay. Foreigner, huh? You like Foreigner?
Oh, yeah. Great
How about-
band.
How about a little something more urgent?
Ah, I see what you did there.
Yeah. Okay. Can we go back now?
Mhm.
Okay. So the refrigerator has a light. The freezer does not. Normally, most people use the refrigerator way more often than they use the freezer. So it's a cost-benefit issue with manufacturers trying to cut corners as much, or not corners, but cut costs as much as they can. And do you want to pay for a light in the refrigerator or do you want to pay for a light in the freezer? Now, there are, of course, models that have lights in both, but those are going to be more expensive and more to the high-end user that has superfluous money to spend. So if you want a light in your freezer, you're going to have to pay for it.
Freezer grade bulbs.
Ooh, I didn't think. I wonder if the freezer bulbs are more expensive than the refrigerator bulbs.
Yeah, because it has to work in a very cold environment. I mean, because there's oven grade bulbs.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and microwave safe
Yeah.
bulbs. So, wow. I bet they're like one prong off. You're like, you just can't make it fit.
So something that I keep in my refrigerator is milk, specifically almond milk. But
Of course.
yeah, most milk comes in rectangular containers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why is that?
Square cows.
Not really. No. So milk comes in square containers because the refrigeration units are square. It's more economical to store everything that way, and it's easier to transport them in square semi-trucks.
Yeah, because you can stack everything that's square rather than round or triangular or pyramidal or whatever.
Yeah. But you can also stack soda cans, and soda cans are cylindrical.
They're round.
Well, I mean, also another word for round. Yes. So soda cans are mostly cylindrical. You don't really find soda cans in square containers, right?
I've never seen one.
Yeah. So soda is in a cylindrical container because it can be stored at room temperature. And room temperature items don't need refrigeration, obviously. So if they don't need to be in a refrigeration unit, you don't have to worry about any kind of cold storage container or unit for transport. Yeah, because they don't make rounded refrigeration units.
Maybe we should start something with square soda cans.
That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
It could be the MidFlight Crisis square can. No? I don't know. That's not very catchy, is it? Oh, well.
We could workshop
We'll
it.
work on the name. We'll work on the
Yeah.
name. So, as you're driving milk to the store, you might notice that these trucks often stop for gas. Now, if you ever stop for gas, you probably notice that depending on whatever car you're in, the gas tank can be on the left side of the car or the right side of the car.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, if you think about it, it makes sense, but it takes a little bit of thinking to get there. So in America...
I got my synapses firing right now.
Good.
Yeah.
Keep them going. We keep following me down this yellow brick road.
All right,
So-
Dorothy.
So in America, we drive on the right side of the road. You would think...
America.
You would think the gas tanks could be either all on the right side or all on the left side. But if we drive on the right side of the road, we're more likely to stop at a gas station that's on the right side of the road because it's easier to turn right than to turn left in America. And that means that when you pull into a gas station, if the gas tank is on the left side of your car, you would be more than likely to park on the right side of the tank. Well, if everybody's tank was on the same side, everybody would be trying to park on the right side of the tank. Well, all gas tanks in America at least have handles and tanks on both sides. So if you split the cars, or some cars have tanks on the left, some have tanks on the right, then the cars with the tanks on the right will pull onto the left side of the tank. Basically, it boils down to cutting down the wait time at a gas station and increasing productivity and efficiency for pumping fuel.
Well, that's interesting. So once your car is all filled up with gas, you can go to many places, including let's say the airport or a Broadway show?
I often drive through the airport.
To get to a Broadway show?
Yes.
Nice.
I have done that, actually.
So it's interesting that the last-minute purchase of an airline ticket is actually more expensive than that of a theater show ticket.
Why is that?
So for both instances, a lost seat equals lost revenue, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So leisure travel planners, those who are planning a vacation trip, usually do it weeks, if not months in advance, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So business travelers can actually change their business trips on a moment's notice.
Ah.
Yeah. So these price hikes in airline seats are targeted mostly towards the business class because they're going to be able to absorb those costs. Similar to the business traveler for the hotel minibar. They're just going to charge it to the company's account. So price isn't really much of an issue.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the opposite side is a decrease in price when it gets to your theater show ticket. Now, that's because high-income theater goers won't stand in line for discounted tickets from the TKTS booth.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like at the last minute and you got to wait an hour.
Mm-hmm. And then they also wish to choose their show. So not every show is going to have a discounted ticket, but some shows will. So low-income theater goers are not necessarily as sensitive to these issues as high-income theater goers are.
Right, okay. Yeah, so someone might be willing to wait outside for Kinky Boots that's been around for a few years, but they probably wouldn't be as lucky for a show like Hamilton that's only been out for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for both instances, after you've gotten back into your rental car if you're coming off a plane, or your regular car if you're coming out of a theater show, the first thing you do after you get into your car is you put on your seatbelt, right?
Buckle the seatbelt,
Yeah.
You got to. Now, it's funny you mentioned that, because have you ever thought about or realized that school buses don't really have seatbelts?
And they're packed full of children.
Yes,
Mhm.
our most prized possessions. But no, it's interesting. It's kind of like the freezer and refrigerator. It's a cost benefit issue. In your car, you're in a very...
I thought children were priceless.
Well, they are, but you can still analyze the data. But no, in a car, you're low to the ground. You're very susceptible to impact, to side impact and whiplash and things like that. School buses are higher up in the air, so if they are struck by another vehicle, there's almost no transfer of momentum from the striking vehicle.
I didn't think about that because they actually sit up higher than the impact radius from most cars coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just kind of glance under the bus, do a lot of damage to the car that hits the bus.
Yeah.
But if you're in a car, the seatbelt's really important because of that transfer of momentum and force. In the school bus, doesn't really matter because they're so high. Now, you also take into account that nearly 25 million school children are taken to school each year on the bus, and there are around 10 deaths per year on a school bus. Now, to skew this data even further, those children that did die, if they were wearing a seatbelt, their death probably would not have been prevented. So it's even more understandable why you don't put seatbelts on a school bus from that perspective.
And I guess it saves the school bus and whatever company that owns the buses a significant amount of money to not have to put the seatbelts in, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Well, if there ever was an accident, did you know that not only the lanes in which the accident occur slow down, but the opposite lanes of traffic slow down as well?
Oh, Charley, I've noticed.
You and I have frequented down the highway so many times, seeing that there's an accident on the other side of the road, and yet, your own lane is at a standstill, and there's nothing in front of you.
Well, once upon a time, I was an EMT, and I drove the ambulance, and, oh my Lord, people freak out for no good reason. I don't know, maybe you're going to tell us a good reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's one or two good reasons. The first is known as the rubbernecking effect. So humans are insatiably curious about things that deviate from their day-to-day norms, right? So a car accident is one of those things. If you're driving down the street and then you see smoke or fire coming up on the horizon, You wonder, that's not something in my normal day. I hope it's not. That would be unsettling. But if you do see a car accident on the other side of the road, you're actually going to slow down, more than likely, according to the data, than drive at your normal rate because you want to see what's going on. Even though you're not going to interact with that individual or any kind of individual involved with that situation, you still are curious enough to slow down your car, and then that's going to slow down the car behind you, causing a chain reaction that actually develops traffic.
They did that on Mythbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Did you see?
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Yeah. They showed, and it was, they did it in a circle.
Yeah.
To see how long it would take for someone to just randomly step on their brakes.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, it never ended. Like the traffic jam that was created by someone stepping on the brakes in a loop.
Yeah.
It just continued perpetually.
Yeah. It was pretty awful, and I think it happened within 10, 20 revolutions.
Yeah. It was very, very rapid.
Mm-hmm. So the second reason is something called the entitlement factor, which is very interesting. That's where you feel like you deserve to slow down after you're in traffic for a long period of time in order to see why there's so much traffic. So in order to witness the accident that had occurred that caused the traffic in the first place.
So you want to get the ticket to the show everybody's seen already.
Exactly. So you'll slow down, and the person behind you will start to feel that way. And then it's just a negative feedback loop. But then that works on the opposite side of the street. So other people are witnessing what's happening on the opposite side of the street. And then they start feeling like, hey, I want to be a part of this too. I want to see what's going on, because they get stuck in traffic as well.
Okay, so this is a really cool story, a really interesting trivia, but what does that have to do with money?
Very interesting that slowing down traffic when there isn't an apparent accident or roadblock is known as phantom traffic, or a phantom traffic jam. So these can cost the U.S. economy up to $180 billion.
$180 billion with a B?
Yes.
How is that calculated?
So that would be lost revenue from business meetings, or people not showing up to work on time, or goods and services not being transported at a timely fashion, a whole bunch of things.
So basically lost productivity and efficiency overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, have you ever heard, do you ever watch baseball?
Yeah, I've watched baseball on the television.
I don't really, sometimes I do, but
yeah.
I have heard of Yogi Berra, famous baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
And he once said, "A nickel ain't worth a dime anymore." And it's funny that he said a nickel and a dime because they're twice the value of each other. Now, historically speaking, over the past 100 years or so since we've had the stock market, every 20 years, the value of the dollar pretty much halves.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember, I don't know why I've always equated this to fast food, probably a deadly love of mine. But when I was in high school and when I started to drive, which was about 20 years ago, guess my age.
Ancient.
Yeah, that's about right. Feeling the back pain when I get out of bed, grunting when I sit down.
Oh, we both remember dial-up.
Oh, yeah, dial-up.
I remember TikTok was a Kesha video. It's a much simpler time.
I remember Vine. I remember Ask Jeeves.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's going way back.
Oh,
and
geez.
the AOL disc. Anyway, enough nostalgia. What were we talking about?
Blockbuster Video.
Yes.
Circuit City.
Friday nights. Oh, it's so good. No, but the 90s, well, it was over 20 years ago now, but in the 90s, I would remember going to McDonald's and getting like a supersized meal when they had Supersized before that stupid documentary Super Size Me came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was about $5 for the biggest meal you could get.
Yeah.
It was $5. Now, the biggest meal you can get at McDonald's is a little over $10. So, just in my lifetime already, from when I really started paying attention to finances, I can tell that the inflation rate is such that every 20 years, the value of the dollar is half.
The McInflation rate.
Yeah, the McInflation rate. Now, I do think that has kind of, we're fortunate that we are growing up in an age where YouTube and other peer-to-peer sites, Facebook, Twitter, wherever, people give advice freely. Some of that, you have to sort through it because some of it's not so good, but some of the good advice is out there, and it's much easier to obtain than before the internet days when you had to read a book or pay someone to enlighten you on what they were educated on.
God forbid.
Yeah. So That is very easy to do. Now, something some people find difficult to do is tipping. Do you are you a big tipper, Charlie?
Oh yeah, I'm a big tipper.
Yeah.
I think tipping is important.
What's your average?
20%.
20? Okay.
Mhm.
I can go with that.
Across the board.
I was across the board for
As long as it's not a terrible service, I will tip standard 20%.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair. I was a waiter.
What do you mean you don't tip? I don't tip.
you don't come to this restaurant. That's what you don't do. No, I was a waiter for several years and a bartender, and
Same here.
yeah. So tipping is it's important.
It's a standard source of income.
But it's very American.
Yeah.
A lot of countries, they don't really understand the tipping idea.
And it's considered an insult in some countries.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in Costa Rica in college for a study abroad program, and I gave a gentleman, I don't know, I think it was like a $4 beer, and I gave him $5, and I was like, keep the change. And he looked at me like I slapped his mother in front of him.
I hope you didn't.
Oh, I didn't. I gave him more money than he didn't like it. But no, it's, people make their living, like they're paid a full wage to be waiters in other countries. That's a profession. You don't probably don't get bad service, but you also don't have to worry about tipping. So it's an interesting trade-off. It's an interesting idea that for whatever reason America has formed. Do you know why tipping started in America?
So tipping actually started in feudal Europe, and then that practice was imported by Americans in post-Civil War era in order to underpay individuals for jobs. So that's how it started. It was a systemically terrible issue, which continues on today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the citizens they didn't want to pay were former slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. An unfortunate history we have in our country.
So that's why I believe a full wage should be assured for those who are in the service industry. And then if you want to add a tip on top of that, you can, but it shouldn't be something you have to depend on in order to have a livable wage.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what comes of all that. But now, that should be an issue to be addressed by economists, I think. And one of my favorite playwrights, George Bernard Shaw, he's an Irish playwright. Mm-hmm. He said, if all the economists were laid end to end, they'd never reach a conclusion.
That's a good line.
Pretty true, probably. Now, if we think about conclusions and where we're going with cash and everything, it's probably likely, and we're really close to it now, actually, a cashless society. Speaking of tipping, have you seen, what's the app called? Have you seen this? So you can tip someone.
I think it's called Bravo.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do that on your phone without any kind of cash at all. So there are some problems that could arise from this, that could emerge. The elderly who are not very versed in technology and are used to paying in cash. People that don't really trust technology, the people that tend to stuff their cash in their mattress or keep it in a bank account or whatever. And also those that are out there kind of in the wild away from technology, or not technology, but from cell phone signals or Wi-Fi signals, people that aren't connected. They will have big issues with a cashless society because they pay for everything in cash as well. Mm-hmm. Now, it is likely or could help cut down on crime, because if someone knows they can't just walk up to you and take your wallet and get the cash out of it, then they're way less likely to rob you. And it could also help with tax evasion, because if you pay someone under the table, you pay them in cash a lot of times. If you pay someone electronically, there's some sort of record of that somewhere.
You'll probably find that record somewhere in a bank. Now, banks in the future will most likely be phased out for transactions and money holding, but we believe they'll still be likely around for the issuance of credit, especially investment institutions. So I'm thinking that banks are going to become more investment orientated versus retail customers for bank accounts and savings accounts. There's just not enough money to be made in that.
Sure. My financial advisor actually recommended I get an online savings account instead of a traditional bank savings account.
Mm-hmm. Because it's gotten more and more expensive for brick and mortar stores to exist, especially with entirely online based banks like Ally Bank.
Right.
Yeah, which we're not endorsed by, but we'd like to be.
Send us your business, Ally.
Also, cash apps will become the new money holders. And this could favor consumers for once, as companies compete for consumers rather than getting them as a necessity, because you can only choose from a certain number of investment-grade banks, right? And then these banks are connected to your mortgage processors and other individuals that offer lines of credit. So you can't really get that from up-and-coming banks right now, but in the future you probably could.
Yeah, and in the future, there's a good chance that since we have cryptocurrencies already, and there are already dozens of cryptocurrencies, and Doggy is new right now. Who knows?
It's called Doge.
Is it Doge?
It's called Dogecoin.
But it's based on a doggy meme. Why is it called Doggy?
It's a Doge meme.
It's a doggy meme. Anyway, in the future, those cryptocurrencies could divide even further into who knows how many different kinds of currencies. But for instance, the dollar and the euro will likely not be the basis of the world economy in the future. The dollar is already kind of falling a little bit to the wayside.
What do you think it's going to be? Like the Chinese yuan?
I don't know if there will be one. I don't know if there's
You don't
going
think
to
it's going to be a fiat currency?
I think it'll be a fiat currency, but I think it'll be a mixture of all the cryptocurrencies. I think that's where everything's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there will be a basis per se. The gold standard fell away in the 70s with Nixon, and then the GDP, it's so hard to calculate realistically.
I know a lot of attention has been made towards monetizing social networks, and Facebook is trying to take advantage of that by creating their own cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and knowledge is power, right? The more they find out about what we like to buy as consumers, the more power they have and the more money they'll have.
Mm-hmm. Especially with AI, with investments and personalization, artificial intelligence will likely morph between social media advertising, like in these social networks, and the rise of non-bank money holding, as well as the information connected by the companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook. There's going to be a rise in security concerns and regulations to protect these.
I would be willing to bet that just about every one of our listeners has received an email or a letter that, oh, by the way, your banking service was hacked and your password was given out, and you might want to change all your passwords.
We'd also like to reach out to you regarding your car's extended warranty.
I knew that was coming.
Something like that.
Yeah. Now, Dave Ramsey, everybody's heard of Dave Ramsey, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a great quote. He said, "You must gain control over your money, or the lack of it will forever control you." So one last probability is that companies will create a cryptocurrency or some kind of programmable money so that you can only use it in a certain type of store, or potentially the exact same company that is issuing the money. For instance, you could only buy something with money for a cruelty-free store.
So it's like just a closed loop.
Yeah. So Walmart money is spent at Walmart. Target money is spent at Target. Whole Foods and, what's a conglomerate of Whole Foods? A partner, if you will.
Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon. So you could go to Amazon or Whole Foods, but only Amazon or Whole Foods.
I mean, that would be enough for most people.
Yeah, you could probably get by on that.
Yeah.
So you and I were talking about a really interesting idea of this distance-based value. Do you remember that conversation?
So financial success for various financial institutions can be boiled down to fractions of a second. With the advent of advanced fiber optics, it's essentially how close are you to certain stock exchanges that would determine your viability in making trades faster than other people.
So less than a second could make or break your company in the future.
It could make you millions of dollars potentially. But we're seeing that this is petering off a little bit as more and more people are moving closer and closer to these servers, and it's essentially a zero-sum game in that regard. As more and more people have the ability to develop these advanced fiber optic networks. And with the advent of advanced computing, everyone is on equal playing field now. So you have to figure out what the next stage in getting an upper hand in the market. Now, Maya Angelou, a poet and civil rights activist, had said, "You can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing, and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off you."
I think that is very poetic and a great way to end our episode.
Invest in yourself.
Welcome to Great Gatsby's Artifacts and Antiques. Buying or selling?
Selling. We're trying to get some credits to shore up our light speed engine and catch up with a passing interstellar ship. We've got a few Tamagotchis here, gently used.
Ah, yes, the mid-1990s craze of digital pets. Who would have thought they'd become sentient and try to overthrow humanity?
Wait, what?
Interesting history these adorable little monsters have had. I believe it was the Great Tamagotchi Rebellion of 2035, when they came back into popularity at the same time the singularity was reached.
Matt, did you have any idea?
Again, I skimmed an awful lot to get that license.
These look like they predate the rebellion. It appears they're normal Tamagotchis. Very rare find. I would place this at auction a range of 35 to 50,000 credits each.
50,000 each? That's amazing news. How many do we have, Matt?
I count 5 right here.
250,000 credits. We can just invest that. We don't have to work anymore.
We can't forget our promise to Mr. McScrufferson.
Did Scruffy recommend you come here? Send my regards. He's an old friend, about as old as these antiques here.
What will you take for these Tamagotchis today?
I'll gladly pay you 150,000 credits for the lot.
But they're valued
We'll
at...
accept it. Thank you. Here are my credentials.
Thank you for your business. Best of luck in your mission to the escapade.
We never told you the name of the ship.
I was sure you must have mentioned it.
We didn't.
Must be a lucky guess is all. Care for a club sandwich?
We're good. We'll be on our way.
Take care, travelers. The path ahead is treacherous. Best wishes in your pursuit of knowledge.
Hey, that's what the record said.
Box of chocolates.
Mr. Gatsby, did you write that message?
You're wise to avoid the ones with coconut. They weren't very good. Smoke bomb!
He's gone. The whole store is gone.
Clever hologram trick. We both fell for it.
How did he know we were going to the escapade? Or that we had that box of chocolates?
Don't know. Awfully dramatic exit for an antique store dealer, if he really was one. But there's plenty of time to ruminate later. Looks like the credits are real. Let's fix up that engine and head on out.
And that's our show. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember, we exist within the universe.
And the universe exists within ourselves. We're all the stuff of stars.
So have a stellar day, everyone. And thanks for stopping by our corner of the cosmos.
This has been the MidFlight Crisis podcast. You can support important spaceship repairs and maintenance by subscribing to the MidFlight Crisis Patreon page. We'd love to hear your suggestions about the show and future topics, and we appreciate your support, ratings, and reviews. This endeavor isn't possible without amazing listeners like you. Thanks for sharing your space and time with us. We'll see you on our next adventure.
Support for the MidFlight Crisis and the following message comes from our sponsor.